Here's the red pill truth. Teenagers aren't children, and there is no such thing as adolescence. There is youth, there is inexperience, but there is no such thing as a childhood that extends to age 26 or even to age 18. Childhood ends years before age 18. In the minds of almost all white Americans, there is a period of life that we call the teen years, where a person that age will find himself trapped in a never-never world, where they're neither adults nor children, but are almost always treated like children. This leads to angst, anxiety, bad behavior, and wicked immorality. All the while, their bodies are screaming at them that they are adults. Their hormones are raging within them, propelling them to find mates, as per nature's design. Everyone knows teenagers have sex. We can promote abstinence until the cows come home, but it won't stop it from happening. Know why? Because it's natural and healthy and God-honoring. But aren't teens just kids, too immature to engage in sex? Yes, but not because of nature. American teenagers are immature little jackasses because immaturity and incompetence are exactly what is expected of them. From teachers, from parents, from police and the legal system, from psychologists, from doctors, basically from everyone. And you only get out of people what you expect of them. Now consider this. Suppose we raise children with an end in sight. The end would be this: maturity. It would be taught and it would be expected to be attained at a suitable age as it was just a few generations ago, and for all generations of human existence before that. Suppose that teens' hormones and romantic feelings are indicative of adulthood in early but full bloom. Terrifying thought? Only if you have raised immature and childish offspring without the natural end of childhood in mind. What we have in the decadent white West in regards to teenagers is the notion that although physically and sexually mature, they are intellectually and emotionally handicapped by dint of having underdeveloped brains, because science proves it. Why, if they're in love, then it's just puppy love. If they're horny, it's just hormones. If they're rebellious against stultifying rules that regulate their every move, then it's just because they're know-it-all brats who don't know what's best for them. What if that is wrong? What if nature is correct in giving teenagers sex drives, hormones, fertility, romantic notions and feelings, valiance, bravery, strength, and a system of honor? What if nature itself stands alongside all of human history, up until the baby boomer generation in America, and says that teenagers are not children and should not be? What if all of history condemns the idea of adolescence, which is only widely accepted in the West because of American pseudoscience and moralistic crusaders convincing Americans it is real, coupled with the post-war American hegemony in culture, science, and the arts, especially since the fall of the Soviet Union? What if it is truly cruel to know that monogamy is the best state for man, woman, and family alike, and that sexual urges begin in teenage years, but said monogamy should not be solemnized in marriage for 10 or 15 years after the urges begin, because teenagers are still children and are not adults until they have graduated college and gotten lucrative careers? What if it's especially cruel to know that men and women alike hollow themselves with multiple sexual partners in those 10 or 15 years? That the hookup culture leads to massive increases in mental issues and also leads to problems with bonding to your marriage partner later on in life, and that years of birth control exasperates fertility issues normal for a 30-plus-year-old woman, making women who wait until they're in their 30s to have children far more likely to birth an autistic or Down syndrome money pit. What if nature intends that women become mothers in their late teen years and not in their early 30s? What if the Bible really means what it says when it tells us that it is better to marry than to burn? What if the church actually believed that it is better to marry young, at the appropriate and natural age, than burn in lust for 10 or 15 years, all the while telling its young members that it's only honoring to God that they abstain from the very most natural urge they will ever know in lieu of holy matrimony? What if laws that restrict and control teenagers are inherently unnatural, violate their natural rights, and are there for the benefits of corporate America, teachers' unions, and the police state? What if restrictions on teenage labor force participation retards their future wage earning potential? What if compulsory education laws amount to nothing more than state-sponsored kidnapping of young adults for purpose of hiring more teachers while teaching them very little of actual value past early high school? What if teenagers are meant to be and are capable of being? They've proven in the past to be so much more than expensive parasites to families. What if the later teen years are the years wherein God and nature intend lifetime bonds of love to unite a man and woman into one flesh, which will soon multiply and replenish the earth? And what if a society that rejects that good and natural model is a society calling out to the ages for justly earned condemnation and destruction? In other words, what if the church actually encouraged young marriage as per God and nature's design? What if we prepared young people for lifetimes of responsibility as opposed to lifetimes of carpe diem opportunistic hedonism and mindless consumerism and entitlement mindsets? To encourage natural and young love with responsibility is one of the responsibilities of the Red Pill Church. God grant us the grace to do it in the decadent and degenerate society of our times. Grant us the wherewithal to treat teenage adults as they should be treated, and to raise our children to be adults at the appropriate, healthy, and the natural time.